shoot. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, stop me. 4 takes, that's true. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, you got me.
Hey guys, welcome to Cobb and Dash Show. It's a Saturday morning here. Just woke up. Feeling pretty good today.
I like it.
Had a good night last night. Some of the boys from the league hung out. Had a little vent session about some of the stuff going on in the league. People weren't happy with Paul's whole airport thing this week. People said like, "Oh, so when I have to go to the grocery store on a Sunday, I can let you know that I want somebody out during a game if one of my guys turns out to be limited or something like that." So not a good precedent Paul's trying to set in this league, but hey, it didn't matter because Ayuk was ruled out. But yeah, we got a big week here. We got week 3 coming up here. Week 2 was a big week. I was the high scorer. My guy ZB was the low scorer. Yeah, he gave us I think one of the first live and in-person chugs we've ever had.
Yeah, Yags was low score.
Yeah, Yags. Yeah.
You just woke up. It's all right.
Yeah. But yeah, Yags gave us one of the first live and in-person chugs. I don't think we've ever had one of those before. The first ever?
I think so. You know, he was he knew he had a lot to live up to with CBs last week, so he wanted to do something special, and he did a good job.
He did do a good job. And you know what? We're gonna roll the tape right now. This is Yaglu's chug from last night at the Glory Days in Fairfax.
1. I have to do this chug, score the lowest amount of points. If I started Jordan Love, I would have. We can next year. I'm gonna order first and then put this. Okay. So I'm coming over. I was like, "Hi, I'm ready whenever." Are you serious? I have to do this chug, score the lowest amount of points. If I started Jordan Love, would have actually won. So that's disappointing. Poke, I expect an apology for that draft pick, by the way. All right.
Pretty impressive. Yeah.
That was not funny.
Yeah, Yags is a good sport. That was a good chug. Took a couple minutes there. We had to place our order in. The guy came and left, and then came back. We didn't place it. We actually ended up placing our order after, right? Because he left, right?
Yeah, we did.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you think about that chug? His first ever chug in the BL Plus.
It was good. I thought it was nice to have some of the league members there to witness it. And it was just a good time overall. So I thought it was a good chug.
It's a big moment. Your first chug in the BL Plus. That really means you're in.
Yeah. Is there anyone in the league that hasn't done a chug yet?
You've done one, right?
I've done one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done one. Alex has done one. Barry did one. Yaglu's done one. Yeah. All the new guys have already done, so they've already checked that off their bucket list.
Yeah, I think everyone's done one.
I don't think Millie has.
Has Paul done one?
Paul did 2. Remember, he even did one last year. He just wanted to do it.
Has Hodge done one?
He might have done one last year.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't think Millie's done one. Ruben did a few last year. Because we had a lot of guys last year who did it a lot. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah. No. Anyway, so we're gonna go into before we get to week 3 preview, what are some of the takeaways you had from last week's games?
My biggest takeaway last week was just a big bounce back week. Week 1, we had a ton of low scores. You and Stu included, and then you guys this week were the 2 highest scores. So big bounce back week for most teams. So that's good to see the kind of riding of the ship for scoring in this league.
Yeah, my big takeaway is the fact that there's 2 teams that are winless and 2 teams that are undefeated. And my biggest surprise, I thought you were going to be a solid team this year, and you have plenty of time to 0-2. It's not a big deal. But I think my biggest takeaway is the other team is 2-0. So you got myself, I'm 2-0, and then Roden. I think a guy that a lot of people thought was going to have a bad year because he had no draft picks. He traded away his first overall pick. for Josh Allen, and then he had got Diggs. So the Bills stack so far, hey, stacks win. Like if you have a good stack, you should be in the playoffs, and he has a good stack so far. I don't know if Waddle's going to play. He got a limited practice in yesterday, but he still hasn't been cleared by the concussion protocol, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But I think Roden being the team, the unsung hero so far this year, I think that's the week 2 takeaway. And quite frankly, that might be the BL Plus storyline right now is David Roden. He's back. He's a guy who was in the championship for a couple of years in a row, just not even that long ago. Beat me, lost to me. I think then lost to you in the championship. So like. He's a guy, and I know Hotch is like put it out there that Roden's not a happy camper in this league. He might leave, but like I keep telling him like that's not happening. Roden loves this league.
Our guy's here too. Let's go,
Dave.
Yeah,
there he is.
That's
fantastic. And I keep telling him like, no, I was like, Roden's a mainstay. Like, yeah, he's had some moves that might have not been the best moves, but like I think he's got a solid core right now, and. When next year, when he has all his picks, if he's 2-0 right now, and I hope he can still rally off wins. If he stays 2-0, I mean, if he continues to win, we might see David Rowe back in the playoffs this year, and who knows what can happen. But yeah, I think he's a storyline so far this year. Yeah, what do you think about Dave?
Yeah, he beat me week 1. It was definitely him and ZB were both 2 teams I think I came into the season underestimating. They both put me in my place. So it's good. It's always good to see like, especially early this season when we have like these surprise teams hop up in the rankings. So it's good for the league.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna put somebody on upset alert again today or this week. Roden is okay, but we're gonna go to week 3 preview. So because Cobb and I are playing against each other, we're gonna save that for last, and then we're both gonna give our insight on it. No one's just gonna take it. But the first one, I want you to do the honors here. This is so obviously you got Cobb and Dash versus Cobb and Dash this week. And we're calling it the rivalry week, guys, because we're playing each other. I think we talked to league heads, and they're like, let's just make this the rivalry week. We got our co-hosts playing against each other. Might as well do it that way. And we also have ZB versus Yaglu, the 2 rookies. We got Alex versus Hotch. Not really much of a rivalry there. We got Roden versus Adam. Not really much of a rivalry there, but I guess there is. I don't know what they're calling it that. We got Stu versus ZT, and then we got Paul versus Tajan. If anyone knows, Tajan and Paul have a history on the basketball court, off the basketball court. Last year's draft, Paul was trolling them. This year, I think they had a good. I think they made up, but it's still rivalry based on what we talk about in this league. Anyway, so we're gonna go with the matchup of the week, the 2 versus 3. This is Adam versus our guy Roden. This is the guy. I'm buying stock in. I bought stock in Roden last year, and I'm still buying it again. I think I got it in early before he made all these moves. But yeah, I'm in on Roden. But Cobb, let's want to hear you do this prediction for this game.
Yeah, sure. So let's just go matchup to matchup right out the gate. This is going to be should be a great QB battle between Tua and Josh Allen. Josh Allen had a great bounce back week last week when he had a kind of a stinker in week 1, a lot of turnovers. But week 2, right at the ship, and he's going against Washington, who just gave up a ton of points to Russell Wilson. Their defense is supposed to be pretty good, but I feel like the quarterbacks they've been facing have been putting up some pretty solid performances. And then on the other hand, you also have Tua, who's been lighting up the scoreboard, going against Denver with another defense that I thought was supposed to be one of the top of the leagues, that just hasn't been. Tua had an amazing week 1, but he really came back down to earth. Granted, it was against the Patriots defense. This is a great QB battle, probably the best we'll see this week.
We got Mahomes versus Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm just talking about performance right now. Like as of week 2, I don't know. Josh Allen and Tua both had higher scores, I think. So I don't know. This matchup, it's going to be pretty gross in Washington tomorrow, which kind of limits Josh Allen's upside.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at the same time, I think I'm still going to give it to Josh Allen, give him a slight edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Tua. He's always a guy that surprises me. He's one concussion away though from being out, but Josh Allen's Josh Allen. He's always been pretty dominant for fantasy. And then next matchup we have AJ Brown versus Stephon Diggs. Again, another great matchup. We had Devonta Smith go off for Philly last Thursday, which really limited AJ Brown. And I feel like we're going to see that a decent amount this year. We saw that argument on the sideline with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. They said it wasn't anything about not getting targets. He said something earlier in the game. We'll see if that's true.
Yeah, because the next drive, literally the first two pass attempts went AJ Brown's way. So yeah, I don't know if I buy that.
Tampa has a kind of a suspect secondary. Their defense has been a little more impressive than expected.
Tampa's a real deal this year, man.
Yeah, you've been saying that all off season. So
I did.
So props to you there. Because it's I don't know, Diggs has just been getting a ton of targets consistently. I'm going to give Diggs a slight edge there too. So let's just go. So Josh Allen, Diggs, slight edges over Adam's two players, even though Adam has, again, Tua and AJ Brown. Would not be surprised if they outscore Allen and Diggs. But I bet on the stack. The stack has looked great so far this year. Go next. We have Brian Robinson. Talking about surprises of the year. Brian Robinson. When I saw, this was one of the reasons I was underestimating Roden for in the beginning of the season. I was like, this is your running back. It's Brian Robinson. Didn't really buy it, but man, he's paid off. I don't know what he's ranked right now.
He's 20th overall.
20th overall. That's wild. But he's been looking great. But on the other end, you have Christian McCaffrey, who's just a guaranteed 20 plus points every single week. Again, Brian Robinson has been great. Hopefully he continues it, but it's hard for me to ever pick anybody above CMC. So I'm going to give Adam the bump there. Dalton Schultz versus Zach Ertz. I'm going to give the edge there to Zach Ertz because Zach Ertz has been getting peppered with targets. Again, another surprise. I think a lot of people kind of put him in the back when he tore his ACL last year. They didn't really want to, I think it was his ACL last year, but they didn't really want a piece of him. But he's been great. He's just getting peppered with targets. I mean, when you have inexperienced quarterbacks like that, they tend to, target their tight ends. So definitely Zach Ertz there. Waddle versus Dylan. I'm kind of under the assumption that Waddle isn't going to play this Sunday.
It's still up in the air. I mean, protocol as of yesterday, but he got into practice at least. That helps if he does pass through the protocol today or tomorrow.
Yeah. It is the first.
And I'll also say this though: if he doesn't play, that takes away from Tua doing anything in that game.
Yeah. So like, if you're Road, would you want Waddle to miss? If he was going to miss a week, this would be the week to miss when you're going against Tua.
Ah, man. I'm looking at his roster. I mean, I know he's got JSN. I'm not high on JSN. I think this week, if I was him, if that were to happen, and I know this is a long shot here. I don't know if he's going to do it. I know he's listening right now, but if Waddle's out, I would go Cole Kmet. The Chiefs cannot guard tight ends. If you look at both tight ends we played this year, Laporta and Evan Ingram, they've both dominated. I know a double tight end set with Cole Kmet and Zach Ertz isn't the sexiest thing, but as far as a fantasy play, I think I think that'd be a smart move. But that's if Waddle doesn't play. I don't think they get. And he's got George Pickens and Drake London. I'm not high on a lot of these guys. AJ Dillon. Rowan could easily steal this game, even if he did put double tight ends with Cole Kmet and Zach Ertz. But yeah, obviously Waddle not playing would hurt. Because you'd rather have Waddle, even if that's going to give him another weapon.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. It's hard for me to buy anything in that Bears offense right now, but you would know more about. So it'll be interesting to see who Roden puts in there. I'll just go into the assumption that Waddle plays, so I'll give Waddle the edge there. I'd probably take AJ Dillon over any of the other guys that he'd plug in there. So just on the surface, but like slightly, it's not like a big edge. AJ Dillon hasn't looked all that great this year at all. So then we have Christian Kirk versus George Pickens. George Pickens had a blow-up spot, the only bright spot for that Steelers offense last week. A lot of it was because of that breakaway touchdown. It was like 70 yards, something like that. So I mean, again, it's easy to say this, but take it away. Didn't really do that much. He had 10 targets and only 4 receptions last week, dude.
Pickett looks bad.
They are going against Vegas, but it's going to be very inconsistent with that team, especially until Deontay Johnson comes back. It's just rough for that team that people had a lot of faith in with Steelers. So, and then the other end, you have Christian Kirk, a guy that dominated last year, had a terrible week 1, really bounced back week 2.
We called it on the show last week.
Yeah, and it's just going against Houston. Should be a pretty heavy passing game. I guess it looks like Houston hasn't given up a ton of points to receivers. This will be really telling to see if which week 1 or week 2, which one had more truth to it for Christian Kirk. Because well, I guess Zay Jones is going to be out though. So I'll give Christian Kirk actually the edge here. That's key. That actually stings for my Lawrence, but I'll give Kirk the edge there just because, I mean, he had 14 targets last week. He's going to be relied on, especially with Zay Jones out. I don't expect another week where Lawrence has 0 touchdowns passing. So I think Kirk gets a touchdown this game. Let's give him the edge. Josh Reynolds versus Drake London. Josh Reynolds has been another key surprise, is just like players throughout Roden's lineup. Reynolds being one of them. He's been, Jameson Williams with his suspension and being out, he's really stepped up. He's looked really good.
That's Goff's guy, man. That's Goff's guy.
Yeah, no, he's key. And then on the other hand, we have Drake London, who, again, I mean, he had a 0 week 1 and then really bounced back week 2. I'm going to give Drake London the edge here just because they're going against Detroit. And again, I think Atlanta's defense is a little better than Detroit's. I think this is going to be close, but Drake London they're going to have to pass, and Drake London is going to be the guy that passes to. I'm going to give Drake London the slight edge there. But yeah, all the things said, this is a key IDP matchup. I think these are 2 guys that really like their IDPs.
Let's hope one of them sees that he's got an inactive guy on his roster, because he's lucky it's a 4:25 game too. He's got time. He's got time. I'm not going to text him, but
Adam's not going to see this. Do you think he puts it in?
What's that?
Adam's not going to see this episode. Do you think he puts it in or switches?
No, I think there's a high chance he doesn't, but because it's a 4:25 game, I think he will. But I think there's a big chance he doesn't. Yeah. And he gets the inactive fee.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Looking at these matchups, if Waddle doesn't play, I'm giving Roden. I think I don't know. I'd give Roden the win either way, I think. As I went down Adam's lineup, I kind of started losing some faith.
I'm telling you, dude, Adam's team is not good.
You were saying that all last year too, man. Yeah, man, I'll give Roden the slight win here. I'll do a 117 to 1. No, I'll go 121 to 116 for Roden. I think it'll be close. Not like super high scoring or anything, but I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Yeah, I think it'll be right around there. I do think Josh Allen, the difference in that game, in the saying it's going to be like a monsoon tomorrow here, like raining. If that is the case, Josh Allen's going to run it a lot tomorrow. He's going to have like 70 yards on the ground or something like that. Yeah, I think the stack will do it for him. Brian Robinson's, dude, he's got a lot of guys in that game. Brian Robinson's going to have a good game in Buffalo. It's going to be raining, so I think the ground game is going to be huge. But I do think Diggs still has a solid game. I think A.J. Brown, I think the Buccaneers defense is pretty good. They're going to pretty much put the clampers on with the Philly passing attack's got, because the Philly passing attack has not looked good. I know Devontae Smith had a pretty solid game against Minnesota. That's one of the worst secondaries in the league. But, like, they just don't the passing game does not look good. The running game, yes, but Hurts just looks off. But, yeah, I do lean on if Waddle is out, and I hope he's not. I think Cole Kmet would be the guy. So the last 2 games with Cole Kmet, he's had 4 for 38 and 5 for 49. The Chiefs have allowed Laporta week 1. They allowed 5 for 39, and then Evan Ingram 6 for 57. So I think Cole Kmet's I know it's not a sexy thing to start Zach Ertz and Cole Kmet two not sexy tight ends, but as far as Waddle, if he's out, J.S. Sanders really hasn't done it's 2 week sample size, but he hasn't done it enough for me to be yep, he's the automatic guy. Yes, I know he would be the automatic guy, but I think Cole Kmet would be a better. I think you're going to get an 8 or a 9 at that spot. JSA could give you an 8, he can give you a 20, but he could also give you a 2 or a 3 too. He's the number 3 guy in that lineup. Cole Kmet's been Justin Fields' main check down. He's getting more targets than freaking my guy DJ Moore is. So I think Cole Kmet could be the guy there. But yeah, I think Roden wins this matchup. I think he wins 125 to 111. I think Adams' team's really rough. Don't like his flexes at all. All right, so it's 2-3. So we're gonna go 4-8. This is Matty Ice versus Alex, and Matty Ice is looking like he could be on the fritz, man. I think he's real. If he loses this week, I think we're talking about, and he might already be in it, but we're talking about pancake rankings for this guy, Pancake King style. A guy who had a lot of early round picks. It's funny here. Both these guys, you would say, probably won the offseason. The teams are in this matchup. Alex fleeced 2 new owners, fleeced an old owner. Hotch fleeced my guy Dave. Got the number 1 pick overall. Fleeced you. Got some early picks from last year's trades.
You didn't get any early picks from me, my guy.
Yeah, you did.
No,
Did you get a second for Mixon?
I got a second for Mixon.
Oh, how the hell did he have so many seconds then?
He gave me he had Stu's second from something.
Oh.
Nah, and I got the highest of his picks. It ended up being 2-1.
Hotch is fleecing a lot of people, and he's got a lot of early picks, but right now his team doesn't look like it doesn't look like he did anything. But anyway, so we're going to go to just the matchup head-to-head here. So Justin Fields at Kansas City, or Joe Burrow at LA Rams, or at home against the Rams. Dude, that's a rough matchup because A, Burrow might not even play. B, Justin Fields has looked atrocious, and I said that was going to be a big thing. I said Hotch being a homer with his third keeper was going to fuck him, and I think we're seeing that now. Justin Fields, I did some numbers here for my podcast. So Justin Fields has been a double-digit underdog 3 times in his career. He's 0-3. He's also 0-3 against the spread. Outscored by combined 67 points in those 3 games as a double-digit underdog. He's a 12.5-point dog on Sunday. In those 3 games, he had 70 yards passing, 1 INT, 20 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. That's 1 game. Another game where he was a double-digit underdog, 184 yards passing, 3 INTs, 38 yards rushing. They lost that by 35. Another game, 224 yards passing, 2 INTs, 74 yards rushing. They lost that game by 15. So, yeah, overall, not good. Sacked 9 times in those games as well. So, and this week with the Bears turmoil, I think it's just bad over there. So, and let's say Burrow doesn't play. This is what I think of Justin Fields, by the way. Burrow doesn't play. Alex picked up Baker Mayfield to be his backup quarterback. If Burrow doesn't play, Baker is going to win the matchup over Justin Fields. If Burrow does play, Burrow is going to win the matchup over Justin Fields. As bad as Burrow looks on playing on 1 calf, I'm still going to give it to them because that's how bad Justin Fields looks. And I think we're going to see a domination on Sunday. And I also think Justin Fields, there's a possibility he could get benched. That's how bad it is, just because they don't want him to hurt because it's a blowout.
What if Alex played CJ Stroud instead?
Yeah, Stroud too.
Matt?
Who are they playing?
They play Jacksonville.
If I was him, I would go Baker, and I think he did Baker purposely because of the Monday night aspect. He can wait. He can literally wait till the last possible second to go with Burrow. That's why I think he did it. I'm still, yeah. I think my point being is I think I would pick any quarterback over Justin Fields, especially this week with all the turmoil that Chicago has. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson. That game's going to be a shootout. Khalil Herbert, Bijan Robinson. This is going to come back. This is going to be one of those games where Hotch is going to look at this match like, damn, instead of trying to fuck with Dash and drafting Kelsey, like, 'cause I thought I was going to piss him off, I should have just been normal and drafted Bijan Robinson. And I think we're seeing now why I let Travis Kelce go. I know my stuff, guys, especially because of my guys. Kelce, Goddard's looked awful. They haven't been throwing him the ball at all. 7 through 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to go Kelce. I think Kelce catches a touchdown this week. So, yeah, I'll go Kelce. Jamar Chase, Josh Jacobs. Give me Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is going to dominate them. I don't know if you guys saw Pittsburgh's run D. They made the freaking backup Ford look like Jim Brown last week when Chubb went out. So, yeah, I think Jacobs is going to have one of his bounce back weeks. I also think the Raiders win that game, and I think it's going to be large part because of Josh Jacobs. Raheem Mostert and Zach Moss. That's a tough one. I'll probably go Mostert slight lean, but that could be a possible wash. Dude, Breece Hall and Tank Dell.
So then CJ Stroud starts the stack if you're starting Tank Dell.
Man. And Breece Hall gets New England, although Raheem Mostert looked pretty good against New England last week. Yeah, I'm going to go Breece Hall in that one. Yeah, Tank Dell. Jesus, man. They made it close to the end of this thing. Yeah, I think Alex wins the matchup. I just think Hodge's team, there's too many unknowns. Khalil Herbert's another guy that can just stop with the run game altogether. Roschon Johnson's a better pass blocker. They're down. Did you know this? The Bears are down their left tackle, their left guard, their right guard, and center. All they have is their right tackle. That's the only starting lineman on that team. Khalil Herbert's not a good pass protector. Roschon Johnson is the better pass protector. They might abandon the run early. They might keep Roschon Johnson under the block. So, I think Herbert's just going to be just taken away altogether that game. Chase, without Burrow, I don't think they have a backup. I read a story that you guys claimed Will Grier, and that was the only other quarterback they had on their roster. So they ended up signing one of the guys they had during the offseason who might end up being their quarterback on Monday if Burrow can't go, which is like a disaster waiting to happen.
Oof.
Yeah. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Alex the edge here. Alex wins 119-105.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not as on the train of Hodge being actual pancaking contender as you are, because I mean Saquon being out definitely hurts. But yeah, if there's a week that Alex could do it, it's this week. I think, especially I think Bijan it'd be kind of poetic though, right? You had last week where it was Kelce against you. And you won that matchup, and now it's going to be Bijan against Hodge. Kind of rubbing potentially that first overall pick mistake back-to-back weeks. So yeah, I'll give Alex a slight edge here. I'll do 121 to 1. I don't know. Let's go 125 to 121 for Alex.
This is funny. So Tasia just sent me this. So Dave Richard, he's the one of the CBS fantasy guys. This is hilarious. I don't know how this happened, but Alfredo Brown, the co-host of Football Guys. You listen to Football Guys? Mm-hmm. Football Guys podcast. He puts this. I'm not making this up. Real situation in a league of mine. A league member was traveling last night and didn't have Wi-Fi access to their phone when Brandon Ayuk was ruled out. Ayuk remained in his lineup and scored 0 points. Should he be allowed to swap out Ayuk for one of his bench players? Dave Richard of CBS Sports responds to it. He goes, he could ask his commissioner to ask his opponent if he can make a swap. If the opponent says sure, then yes. Otherwise, he needed to say something before he went on a plane and chose not to splurge on the Wi-Fi. Hey man, Paul did his due diligence here, guys.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. It's because almost the same exact situation we had with our thing. It was pretty funny. Okay, so Cobb, we did that one. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to another playoff spot. This is Cobb's IR spot versus ZT's fantasy team. Stu versus ZT. Stu barely hanging on to this playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
And he's on to watch you.
I like it. I love it. No, I said at the beginning of the show, my takeaway was kind of the scoring kind of going back to normal, and you and Stu having big bounce back weeks. Stu had a absolute stinker week 1. We were questioning. I think, did we both have him in his in the bottom 6 last week? I think we did. I think I had him at 7. You had him pretty low.
Yeah,
But no, he righted the ship. Had a great week, and now he's going against ZT, who's been in I don't know. ZT's always in this position of, we talked to him last night at Glory Days about how his team is always very middle of the pack. He has the lowest points for oh wait, no, he doesn't. He's second lowest points for in the league right now. So his team hasn't been looking all that great, but he is projected to win this matchup. Starting going with Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts in this one. A lot of it is because of the weather that's going to be coming into the DMV area tomorrow. I'm not really sure how those games are going to look. I'm hearing that it's going to be like hitting right as the games are about to start, which would be pretty brutal for any upside Lamar Jackson has. He had a great week last week, but I'm not. Jalen Hurts is. I just like Jalen Hurts better, especially going against Tampa. We were just talking about their defense is a little more stingy, but I still like Jalen Hurts in this matchup over Lamar. Going Keenan Allen against Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra because he is turf toe, I think, and that's not a fun injury to deal with. Something that lingers for a while. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have Keenan Allen. He's been looking great. Some people, not me, some people were clowning Stu's keep of Keenan Allen, and it's looked great so far. And I think it's going to continue looking great against Minnesota. That's a game that should be pretty high scoring, and I'm going to give Keenan Allen the edge there. We have Ramondre Stevenson against Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is a guy that I thought was going to do decent this year. He has not looked that good. That whole Panthers offense has not looked that good. Maybe with Andy Dalton being the quarterback this week, it'll become more of a normal offense. Some people think that actually put Carolina in the better spot. Seattle does have a way worse run D than the Jets do, but I just think Ramondre's upside just outshines anything Miles Sanders can do, at least at this point from what I've seen. So I'm going to give Ramondre Stevenson the edge there. It's a key tight end matchup. Luke Musgrave versus Sam Laporta. Laporta's been key. He's been getting a lot of targets, and especially if Amon-Ra is either I think he'll play, but he's probably going to be limited with that turf toe. I think they're going to lean on Laporta a little more, and his involvement has looked great, especially being a rookie tight end. I'm going to give Laporta the edge there. He's had more targets and receptions and just points overall than Musgrave has so far this season. Then we have Devonta Smith. So we were getting into Stu Stack versus Terry McLaurin. Again, weather looks really, really crappy tomorrow. I'm going to give Devonta Smith the edge there. He's been looking great. Just lost my co-host. This is the first time I've ever been myself on the show. It's just the Cobb show now. I'll keep going through the matchups. So we're going Devonta Smith there. Then we have Puka Nacua versus Michael Pittman. Puka's been ridiculous. Everyone knows the storyline. Honestly, so far this NFL season, if we're talking about offense, it's been Puka Nacua. He broke the targets. I think it's the targets or is the receptions records in his first 2 games, and it's been ridiculous. Yeah, you know what? I think so. I don't know if I'm the host. I can't show the comments. It's kind of weak. But Stu's saying better with just Cobb, and I think so. I think that's right. Just feels right. Let's go. Let's go Puka Nacua. Again, there's a lot of matchups in that Baltimore and Washington game for ZT. I don't like that at all, especially this week. So I'm going Puka there. Tyler Lockett against Jahmyr Gibbs. Everyone thought with David Montgomery went down that it was going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs show. Maybe it was because Jesus. Maybe it was just because the game script and they didn't really plan to have Gibbs as the only guy in the backfield, but they didn't really give him the lion's share of the work. Maybe they do that this week. But Atlanta's defense has been looking pretty solid. And then the other side, Tyler Lockett, he did terrible week 1, had a huge bounce back in week 2. And it looks great. I mean, I think he got that game-winning touchdown last week. I'm going to give Gibbs the slight edge there because I think he's going to be used a lot more than he was in last game because, I mean, David Montgomery shouldn't play. But I don't know. That's definitely a good matchup, probably one of the better matchups we have between Stu and ZT. So I'm going to go I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs over Tyler Lockett. All in all, I'm actually surprised by the Yahoo projection here, projecting ZT to win. They must not be taking that. Maybe I'm overblowing the weather that we're going to be having, but everything I've seen. Oh, you know what? I don't think I am overblowing it because I just got a text from my co-host, had a power outage already, and it's not even the worst of it yet. I mean, it's looking not great outside, but tomorrow's supposed to be even worse. Yeah, give me Stu. Give me Stu, and he's going to continue to right the ship like he did last week. Let's go. Let's go like a 127 to 113 for Stu. So that'll be put Stu at 2-1, have a little stronger hold on that playoff spot. ZT 1-2, slowly dropping down the rankings. But again, it's just that weather matchup is really holding ZT back in my mind. We'll get my co-host thoughts on that, whatever he is able to hop back on. But I'll just go ahead and I think so. Again, I wish I could show the comments. Stu's loving it. We got Chief Concerns, the great Kansas City Chiefs podcast. You guys should like and subscribe to them as well. They're a great supporter of BL Plus and the Cobb and Nash show and everything we do. Definitely give them a shout out. I wish I could show their comments. Can't. But yeah, no, I agree with Stu. People are going to be talking about this episode for a while. The power outage show. Give me the reins. I like it. I kind of wish I had my throne back. It'd be great, but show must go on. So I guess I'll just go on and do the next matchup. One of the other ones that we haven't done yet. Let's go with the shootout of the week. It's our 2 new owners with just terrible projections already. We got having a very rough day in ZB and under new management with Yags. These are the 2 people that have done the low score chug already this year. The 2 newest owners are the 2 people that have done the chug so far. Can't write it any better than that. But to be fair, they both had boom weeks. Yags had his week 1. ZB has his last week against me. These projections are looking extremely bad. But let's take a little bit of a deeper dive to see who comes out of the battle between the new owners. So we have Kirk Cousins against Deshaun Watson. Kirk Cousins put a smack down on me last week. He scored a 40, and it was a guy that he just got off of waivers. A guy that, again, will remind everyone that Paul did drop 2 times. Unfortunate, but it happens. Kirk Cousins against the Chargers. The Chargers can't stop a nosebleed. That secondary has been looking awful. And Deshaun Watson, on the other hand, has looked just horrendous. If anyone was watching that Steelers game, he just looked miserable. It was every time he touched the ball, there was a turnover. I think he had 4 in that game. It looked absolutely disgusting. Maybe it was 3 or 4, something like that. But Tennessee secondary is suspect. They are going to be at home. But on the other hand, I think that Minnesota, Dash, my co-host, would be here. He'd have the line. I think the line is really high for that Vikings and Chargers game. There he is on the phone. And so I think Kirk takes that matchup. How are we doing? How are you doing over there, Dash?
Storm's pretty bad. I just see I just see rain. I don't know why the power's out. But
Yeah, I was telling the viewers it was pretty rough outside. It doesn't look that bad. It looks totally.
it's like the Glory Days thing last night. I don't know why the power went out there, but yeah, I don't know why it went out here either. But yeah, we're gonna make it through. We're gonna hunker down. We're gonna make it through.
Love it. Yeah, I we just went through ZT and Stu's matchup. Was just starting ZB versus Yags, but do you have any comments on ZT versus Stu?
ZP versus Stu. Yeah, or ZT versus Stu. I think ZT wins. I think Stu gets knocked out of the playoff spot.
I had Stu winning. ZT has a lot of guys in the Baltimore offense and the Washington offense, and they're all going to be playing in this hazardous weather we got outside. So I've been I knocked his guys down a little bit.
Yeah, well, I will say Lamar playing in the rain. We might see some vintage Lamar next week or this week.
Could be, yeah, could be. And then the next matchup, I was just starting ZB versus Yags. You want to go through that one, or do you want me to?
I can't. I can't see it, so you're gonna have to just go for it. I'll comment on what you have to say.
Jesus, yeah. So it was Cousins versus Watson. I had Cousins on the edge there, going against the Chargers. Watson going against Tennessee. Watson looks awful. There you go. You can show the comments now. Just getting some key ones. But yeah, I had Cousins winning that matchup.
I agree.
Yeah, key. And then we have
I see anybody in that matchup is going to be key. It's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah. Yeah. So next we have Calvin Ridley versus Tyreek Hill. I really like this matchup. Calvin Ridley had a rough week last week, but a lot of that he was close to having a big week. Yeah, that's right. There we go. He still got targeted 8 times. I think he's still the focal point of that offense. And if Trevor Lawrence is going to do what I think he's going to be able to do this year, a lot of it's going to be revolving around Calvin Ridley. So I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. And then we have Tyreek Hill against Denver. Tyreek Hill got kind of like he had obviously a nuclear week 1. I would say he got a little silence week 2, but he still caught that touchdown. And if a quiet week for Tyreek Hill is a 14, you're going to take that. That's crazy. And again, we were talking earlier, Denver's defense has not looked anywhere near what I thought they were going to look like. I do think Calvin really has a bounce back week, but I think Tyreek Hill, he's wide receiver 1 right now, or in my head, like he's the guy. So I think Tyreek Hill wins that matchup there.
Yeah. I will say if Waddle doesn't play, I think Tyreek Hill is going to get strapped up. So a big part of his game tomorrow is going to be it's going to depend on Waddle.
Yeah, fair. Then we have the hell. Oh, see, this is what I was talking about last episode. Yags had a rough running back situation. He had Kenneth Gainwell and Cam Akers, and now his starting running back is Devin Singletary. He's starting a backup running back as his starting running back, a guy that has scored no more than 5 points yet this year. That is brutal. I don't even need to talk about this. Mixon gets the edge there. I don't know if you have any comments.
Man, I think Cam Akers might be one of the worst picks of the draft. We'll see. We'll see how he looks in Minnesota, but that might have been one of the worst picks, especially where he was drafted.
Yeah. Again, this is something I had circled on Yags teams for the last couple of weeks. I did that running back situation is bad. He's got to make a trade, man. He's got to. He has great receivers. But if he wants to do anything, he's got to trade one of them for running back because you cannot start. I would do anything I could today to make a trade happen because I do not want to go into Sunday starting Devin Singletary as my running back. People are already talking about Dameon Pierce isn't even doing anything. You think Devin Singletary is going to? Man, I don't know. That's a rough pick for me. So easy mix in there. Next in the matchup, we have Darren Waller versus Dalton Kincaid. We have a little bit of a bias with this because Waller did play last night, and as Dash knows, he did not do anything, which is unfortunate. Key position you got in, getting comfortable for this for the show. Man, I'm going to give Kincaid the bump there, the benefit there, just because Waller scored a 4.3. I probably would have taken Waller in that matchup before the Thursday game, but right now, knowing what we know, I'll go Kincaid.
Yeah, 4.3 is pretty easy to get past. What did Kincaid get last week?
He got a 7.8. So he hasn't been like crazy high, but he's been getting 5s and 7s so far. As in, he's gotten a 5 and a 7. Next matchup, we got Chris Godwin versus Davante Adams. So, man, I mean, the Tampa offenses looked great with Baker, but a lot of that is because of Baker with Mike Evans. It hasn't really been a lot of Chris Godwin action. It's just been the Mike Evans Baker show. Davante Adams, on the other hand, the Raiders haven't looked great, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter because Davante Adams is still going to get all the targets in that offense. So I'm going to give Davante Adams a pretty easy edge there, in my opinion. Again, unless it starts to switch where people start bottling Mike Evans up and Chris Godwin starts having big weeks, it's pretty easy decision there for me for Davante Adams. Jesus, dude. Where are you going?
It keeps going out.
What do you think, Davante Adams, Chris Godwin? I took Davante. Pretty easy.
I can see Chris Godwin blow up week. We've seen Mike Evans blow it up the last 2 weeks. Philadelphia's secondary is depleted, and they don't look good. Yeah. I could definitely see a blow up spot for Chris Godwin this week. Let me go Chris Godwin.
Oh, good surprise pick there. Then we have Jordan Addison versus potentially Christian Watson. I think he's still questionable. Yeah, he's still questionable. So we'll see. I mean, Addison has looked great. To be fair, it's been because of 2 long touchdowns, but he's still getting the targets, and I think that's still going to go up. And they're going against the Chargers, which have the worst secondary in the league right now. At least fantasy-wise, they just give points to receivers. So I'm going to go, especially if Watson if he plays, Watson's probably going to be limited. I don't really expect big things, and I like New Orleans defense. I don't think Jordan Love's going to be able to do a ton. So I'm going to go Jordan Addison in that matchup.
Yeah, I'll go Jordan Addison too. I think anybody in that game.
I skipped one.
You can't really go wrong with anyone in that game.
Yeah. See, I'm off a little bit because I skipped one matchup. I thought that was the last one. James Cook versus Jerry Jeudy. Give me James Cook has looked great. One of ZB's keepers. One of the keepers again. People were giving him some trouble for. He's looked awesome. You know,
who gave him trouble for that?
Oh, dude, come on now. Yeah, you. Everyone was dogging his keepers. But again, it has been what we've expected though. Is he's a between the 20s guy. He hasn't gotten. I don't know. Has he gotten a red zone carry or he hasn't gotten any goal line carries because they have Latavius Murray and Damian Harris. But it doesn't really matter because they've been looking great. Jeudy came back last week. Even though Russ blew up, he didn't really do anything. I don't know if he was limited, but he's going against Miami defense. I don't know. James Cook. I'm going to give James Cook the edge there, just based off of how the game script's probably going to work in Washington tomorrow. I'm gonna pick Cook. Agree? Disagree? Yeah, so I'm gonna go with I mean, starting Devin Singletary is one of the roughest things I've ever seen in this league. If I'm being completely honest, completely transparent, which is what we are here. I'm gonna give ZB the slight edge here. I do not think this is going to be a very high scoring game, unless Kirk Cousins and Jordan Addison hits for ZB, which they very well could. I'm gonna give it a 118 to 118 to like a 103 for ZB, in favor of ZB. Hopefully Yags avoids another. Hopefully the chug does not come from this game, because we want some of the we don't need to keep beating up on the new owners. We want some of the old guys getting in on these chugs this year. So I'm going to go ZB with the win here. Hopefully the low score doesn't come from it, but time will tell. And then second to last matchup, we have the I guess one of the rivalry week matchups. They only, we dubbed it rivalry week, but only a few of those games out there. This is one of them. We have Tasia versus Paul. There was a little bit of controversy coming into this game already with Thursday, with Paul's travel, having to decide on whether or not he wanted to start Ayuk, requesting that Dash, our commish, benched Ayuk in case that Ayuk was either limited or out. Jesus, look at that power outage for sure. It's a live look. Let's take a break away from these matchups to go into that. Oh, was there not? Were you just in a dark room?
Yeah, I was trying to walk around the house to get some kind of signal.
Oh, I thought you came in because you were showing the power outage, because it was just the lights are off.
No, I was trying to get signal, man. I the most I'm getting right now is 2 bars.
Jesus, dude. Well, I just went through the ZB Yags matchup. I gave ZB the edge there. I'm hoping the low score does not come from that game, but mainly Yags. Worried about him, but
I don't know if Yag was starting Devin Singletary. I think we might see another show from Yag next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I was like, we don't want to keep beating up on the new owners, but might be hard to avoid that. Yeah, so I was just going through the controversy with Paul about him asking for us to bench Ayuk if he was out or limited, because he was going to be on a flight during the time that would have happened. Everyone had their opinions on it. I figured that we would have news on Ayuk before his flight, and we did. So he made the adjustment. We do have a request from the viewers to give us an update on the storm that's going on right now, from Stu, who's definitely not in the NBA.
It's really bad.
Experiencing it. Yeah.
If you're in the DMV area, stay off the roads. It's not good out there.
Any trees falling down around your house?
What's that?
There are trees falling down around your house?
I did hear a tree about a couple hours ago in the back. I couldn't identify it, but yeah, I heard a key snap.
Well, hopefully that's all you hear for the day, because it is brutal out there. And hey, I just want to, on behalf of
dude, it's really not that bad. It's like a key drizzle. I don't understand what's going on.
Hey man, on behalf of the viewers and everyone here at BL Plus, we're happy that you're powering through. Yeah,
bad out there.
It looks so normal out there. That's funny. I'm looking out my window and there's definitely some key dribbles out there, but I don't even think it's windy. The trees aren't moving at all. Yeah, man, stay safe. Everyone in the DMV area, man, stay safe this weekend, especially today. We already have one person with a power outage. Hopefully that's going to get resolved soon. Hopefully no one else experiences that. But yeah, let's just power through this matchup so we can get to the game of the week, and then hopefully we can get to the rankings. Maybe we'll talk about them. See, we already have a viewer. Stu sending prayers your way from all 11 of us. So that's, echo that for sure. Stay safe. So keep powering through this matchup. Yeah, so controversy aside this week, we got Tutu Atwell in there for Paul. And, let's just start. We got Herbert versus Prescott. I really, really like the matchup that Herbert has with Minnesota. Again, I think that's going to be a shootout. Dak does have Arizona, but I think this is going to be another game where the defense shines for Dallas, and Dak doesn't really need to do much. That's what I'm expecting. And on the other hand, I think Herbert's going to have to pass a ton. So I'm going to give Herbert the edge there over Dak. And then we have Mike Williams against CeeDee Lamb. I like that they both have a stack going against some weak defenses. Again, I just don't think Dallas is going to need to pass that much, but at the same time, if they're going to pass, going to go to CD. CD looked great last week. He got targeted a ton. And I'm not going to pick Mike Williams over CeeDee Lamb. So I'm giving CeeDee Lamb the edge there. There's definitely a week where I could see the Herbert Mike Williams stack hitting, getting a touchdown. So wouldn't be surprised if that stack ends up outscoring Taja's stack. But for now, I'm going to go Lamb over Mike Williams. Then we have Kenneth Walker against Kyren Williams. Again, one of the surprises of the year. Cam Akers is now not in that backfield. Kyren Williams has been tearing it up. The whole Rams offense has looked great. But on the other hand, we also have Kenneth Walker, who has also looked great. I think they had Charb in the backfield. Everyone thought that they were going to have a kind of a more split backfield, but it hasn't really looked like that at all. It's been all Kenneth Walker. And he's looked great. And they're going against Carolina, who has a very bad run defense. This is a tough one. I think I might give the slight edge to Kenneth Walker there. What do you think about this matchup so far with their top three?
You're breaking up big time on my end, but what I can say is I think Kenneth Walker and DeAndre Swift. I think if DeAndre Swift has the amount of carries as he had last week, I think Taja wins this matchup. And Taja better hope he wins this matchup because it's not looking good for him.
Yeah, lowest points for so far in the league, 0-2, keeping me out of that last spot, thankfully. But hopefully Taja can pull this one out. But quickly run through the next. So we had Kittle last night, had a great game, 7 receptions, 90 yards, had a 13. I probably would have taken Mark Andrews over him in this matchup. I don't, man. A 13 is right there where I'm like, I don't really know if that's enough to give him the edge over Andrews, but Andrews' first week back, they used him a ton, which I think everyone expected. He did have that touchdown. I don't know. I think that Baltimore-Indy game is going to be gross. So I'm going to give Kittle the edge there, just knowing that he had a 13. I think it'll be a little hard in that weather for Andrews to top that, but I'm not going to be surprised. Next, we have Madison versus Tutu Atwell. We just talked about the news. Cam Akers is now out of LA. He landed in Minnesota, which is unfortunate, I think, for Taja. I think Cam Akers is more talented than Alexander Madison. And they said he's still the guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to slowly lose that. He's looked awful this year. And I don't think they're going to need, and it's also like to the point of Chargers, like the defense can't stop teams from scoring, so they have to keep passing. And Madison isn't that guy that's going to dominate in the passing game. So on the other hand, we have Tutu Atwell. We talked about, the Rams offense has been looking great. I think this is a pretty close one, just because Tutu's been doing really well and Madison hasn't been doing that great. I think Cam Akers, I haven't seen anything about his involvement with this week. But I guess I'd give it might be a slight edge towards Madison just because he should get the guaranteed touches. But I'm kind of leaning towards a wash with this matchup. give it a wash. Let's do that. Make it easy. Next we have DK Metcalf.
Sounds great.
Yeah, sounds good. Damian Pierce versus DK Metcalf. Damian Pierce has been very, very disappointing this year. I think everyone thought, just based off of volume alone, he was going to be at least an RB2. He hasn't scored over 6.4 points is his high in the season, which is brutal. And I just been having a rough year. On the other hand, we have DK, who is questionable, but he did have a full practice yesterday, so he should be healthy enough to play against the Panthers this week. So I'm going to give DK the edge there. And then we have Jerome Ford, who is now the RB1 in Cleveland, versus DeAndre Swift. Swift had an amazing game last week, a blow-up week with Gainwell out. We'll see what that backfield's going to look like now that I think Gainwell's going to play. So we'll see what that backfield ends up looking like. And Jerome Ford, I don't think they signed Kareem Hunt, and apparently he's going to be involved. He's going against Tennessee, and Tennessee's run defense has been the best in the league for not just this year. I think it goes into pretty early last year, and maybe even the year before that. Their run defense has been awesome. They've been limiting running backs, like good running backs, so not like no points. This is a very interesting one, man. It's just a lot. There's a lot of question marks around this one. Who do you think, DeAndre Swift or Jerome Ford, Dash? Break those one for me.
Probably DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
probably DeAndre Swift. Yeah,
that's kind of where I was leaning into, because I feel like it'd be hard for that offense or that team to move away from him for how much he dominated last week.
Their passing attack doesn't look good right now, and the amount of touches he got last week, even with Rashad Penny playing last week, man, he looked really good. He looked like the guy everyone thought he was going to be.
Yeah, no, he's looked awesome. So, and again, if he wasn't going against Tennessee, I'd probably choose Jerome Ford, just being safe, but he's going against Tennessee. So I'm going to go DeAndre Swift as well then. So next, I think that's okay.
This last match
there. Yeah, that was the last one. This is a good rivalry game, and right now Paul is projected to win. Oh man, I think I'm going to doubt Dallas is going to have to pass that much. I think they're going to get a really early lead, and that's going to be all she wrote for that game. So I'm going to give Paul the edge here. I'm going to go like a 125 to 119 for Paul.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Tasia loses. Yeah, I think having too many guys. I think having a lot of guys in that game this week is going to put them over the edge. Highest total points for any game this weekend. The Vikings and Chargers game, 54 points.
Cool. And now we're going to the matchup of the week. Me versus you. And this is
Let's do it.
This is a tale of two seasons going into this week. We have two teams that were highly ranked in the offseason. I think everyone had them in the top three. One has lived up to it. The other, not so much. The not so much being myself, being at 0-2 versus Dash, who's currently in first place at 2-0. Nice little smirk when I said first place. But let's go ahead and go to the breakdown. We'll each give our thoughts around the matchup. I'll just go matchup to matchup. I'm not going to give my thoughts. I'm not going to pick a winner in those matchups. I want to go through what the matchups are, my thoughts on the matchup, and then we'll just kind of each individual matchup, and then as a whole, we can give our thoughts on our matchup and who wins at the end of that. So Lawrence Mahomes, I think that's going to be a fun QB battle. Mahomes is going against Chicago. Chicago is just in shambles right now. Kelsey's back. He should be closer to 100% than he was last week. We were talking, he looked a little slow last week, but still got that touchdown. Lawrence, on the other hand, got 0 touchdowns last week. I do think that changes. We saw Devo last night. He was having a good game, and then he got hurt, and then came in and got a bomb touchdown. which was wild. We were playing basketball during this game, so we weren't like super in like watching everything. But I was like, you know, I thought Debo was going to be involved with Ayuk out, but I was okay with the points he had before that touchdown. I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like I can deal with this. And then he got that touchdown at the end. Kind of a sour note, you know, 49ers running up the score. What's going on with that? But yeah, Debo looked good. I think Amari. I like Amari Cooper a lot. I think Deshaun Watson is going to look better than he did last week. I mean, it'd be hard to look worse than he did last week. I do like Amari a lot this week. Going into the matchup against Tennessee, you can't run on Tennessee, but you can pass on them, and I think they're going to have to do that a lot. So I like Amari a lot. Etienne versus Derrick Henry. Etienne has been I've loved having him so far. I guess he got a 6 last week, but his involvement is what I wanted to see. So far, I thought there was going to be a lot more of a committee approach potentially because they talked about limiting his touches, but I've liked what I've seen so far as how many touches he's been getting each week. And he can definitely run on Houston. So I like his matchup this week. Derrick Henry, this is another good matchup, just to the running back battle with Etienne and Henry. Henry's looked great. You know, everyone was discounting him. He fell to Dash late in the draft, or late in the first, like for Derrick Henry standards, which you were ecstatic about, which for good reason. He's been doing really well. I don't think it really matters about the matchup. He's going to get the volume. Tajee Spears does look good behind him, but that'll just keep Henry's legs fresh, but he's been looking great this season. Hawkinson versus Ingram. I don't like that you have a stack against me. I have Ingram in my other 2 leagues that I have Lawrence. I have Ingram as my tight end. So I really like Ingram. On the other hand, Hawkinson has been looking awesome. He's been everything I've been hoping for, like to keep me out of that tight end wasteland. So I was happy I was able to snag him. Zay Flowers has been one of my favorite guys to watch. He's just electric whenever he has the ball in his hands. He is in that matchup that I keep talking about in Baltimore with that crappy weather. So that kind of bothers me a little bit on what that's going to look like. I'm probably going to wait to see what the weather looks like come game time to see if they avoid any like serious winds or anything, or if it's going to be just a completely like just a shit show. On the other hand, you have Tony Pollard. He's electric. I mean, he's one of the top running backs, one of Dash's keepers that he was super excited about, and for good reason. Pollard's looking incredible, and for the same reason I think that Dallas is going to need to pass it. It's probably, I mean, Pollard should have a big game against Arizona, and should put up the numbers he's been putting up all year so far. So that's going to be a tough one to overcome for sure. Mike Evans has been a great surprise for you for sure. I would assume, even though you thought that offense was going to look great, I don't think you expected this kind of start for Mike Evans. So it's obviously a welcome surprise. Baker's looked great. He's looking at him all the time. So Mike Evans has been a great pickup. On the other hand, Olave, one of my keepers, love him. It's always the first 2 games is weird. He'll have like a super quiet like first quarter or almost first half, and then Derek Carr will do nothing but target Olave. And he was a quarter of an inch away from a touchdown last week. He almost had 2 touchdowns actually. Derek Carr was late on one pass, and then he stepped out on another. So Olave, he keeps putting points despite not having the touchdowns. You know, I love him every week. It's a closer matchup. If you showed me this matchup at the beginning of the year, I would have thought Olave was a sure lock to beat out Mike Evans. But dude, Mike Evans has been looking great, and it's not giving me it's not giving me an edge there at all. And then we have Javonte Williams versus DJ Moore. This is probably the grosser matchup that we have. I think our players matchup are pretty fun, except for, well, I mean, your Pollard one is going to win anyways, but this DJ Moore on the Chicago offense has looked brutal. I mean, but the Chicago offense looked brutal. DJ Moore is the only thing that they have. I think Kansas City is about to dominate Chicago, but hopefully that leads to it leads to Justin Fields passing more, specifically to DJ Moore. And then Javonte Williams, it's more of a volume play than anything.
Did you Did you see the clip from it was mic'd up from last week's game against the Buccaneers?
No, I
Devin
did
White
not.
goes up to DJ Moore. He goes they don't know how to use you, man. And he goes, tell me about it.
Damn. That's rough. Yeah, but I mean, they don't. Like, that offense is looking gross. Nothing what people like. Everyone was hyping him up, and it's been bad. But he still produced. Jonathan Williams, he's been, he's coming back from that nasty injury. Again, kind of what I was saying with Etienne, I've been happy with his usage. It hasn't really produced a ton yet, but I'm happy with where it's trending. It's just not my favorite play. Might be a guy sub out. We'll see. Same with Zay Flowers, depending on the weather. So we'll see how this matchup goes. But top to bottom, it's difficult to be 0-2 in this situation going against now the top team in the league. With a guy that's just scored the most points last week. So I'm and we have Debo already scoring a 20, so you're already off to a good start. Definitely unfortunate for me. I'm kind of not liking this, especially because I have to play Hotch next week as well. But I don't know. Top to bottom, I think my matchups are good. It's just I don't know if I have enough firepower this week to match yours. I think you have really good matchups on your end as well. So it's going to be hard for me to keep up. So I think, honestly, at the end of the day, I do think you win this matchup, like a 140 to like a 127 in favor of you. So I think that sounds right. What do you think about this matchup?
This sounds about right. Sounds right. Yeah, I think it might be one of the highest scoring games of the week. I know you're 0-2, but like, you're not really an 0-2 squad if you look at your team. So I think Debo starting off the way he did start off is going to bode well for me. Yeah, I think we win 147, and I think we rival the high score of the week again. But I think it's 147 to about 135. I think you put up a pretty solid score.
Appreciate it. I'm hoping for the best. That's going to be a matchup to watch. It's going to be a fun one. I'm really excited about the games tomorrow. I have some lineup decisions I have to make. Still, so hopefully I make the right ones, and yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully I can survive this week. 0-3 would be pretty rough, especially going into a matchup with Hotch after that. So we'll see. I like my squad still, head staying up, but not the start I wanted. But that leads us into the next. How do you want to handle the
Pancake King?
The Pancake King. How do you want to do this?
Well, we got to pay bills, Cobb. So we got to head to our sponsors, IHOP, the home of the stack. It's almost October, so it's pumpkin pancake season, guys. So go to IHOP, get the stack. We all love the stack. We know stacks win championships, and also they win breakfast every Saturday morning. So go get your stacks. All right, that's the Pancake King rankings brought to you by IHOP, the home of the stack. Go get yourself some pancake stacks. They're back. Okay, so we're just gonna run through this really quickly. So I'll just go 7, you go 7, and 8. I'm not really gonna put the explanation in there because I can't hear myself. I don't know. This is awful. But so my 7th spot for Pancake King rankings, I have Ryan Cobb. I think he's just on the fringe of making the playoffs right now, but his 0-2 start, I mean, you can even make the argument he should be lower than this, but I like his team a lot, so he's still going to be on the fringe playoff spot right now at 0-2. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have myself at 7 as well. 0-2 start, looking like 0-3 and could potentially be 0-4. Just the matchups now, like heading in this matchup, 0-2 is not great, and then I have Hodge next week. Like you said, I like my squad. I have the highest points for as far as the 7 to 12 go. So I feel like I don't belong in that area, but doesn't matter with record. That's where I'm putting myself.
For the 8th spot, I got Matty Ice. I think he's on the fringe of going 1-2 this week. I don't like the way his team's looking. He's got to rely on. When he drafted Jonathan Taylor, it was a luxury, but now it's looking like he's relying on him to be the guy when he comes back, and that's not what he'd hoped for at the beginning of the season. Hodge drafted all rookie backup running backs, and none of these guys are taking jobs anytime soon. So,
yeah, my 8 spot, I'm gonna go Alex. I have him dropping down a little bit because I do have I did have him winning this matchup, but his team's kind of in rough shape. He kind of relied on that stack with Burrow and Higgins, but if Burrow's hurt and he's not looking like himself, it's going to be hard to overcome. And I don't really like I mean, if you have Baker and Stroud as your quarterbacks, I mean, Baker's look good, but is it going to continue? I don't know. So I have Alex there. Despite, I mean, Bijan looks awesome, but everybody else, there's a lot of question marks on the scene for me.
yeah, it's pretty good. I think I'm basing mine off if Alex wins this week. That's why I probably would have had Alex instead of Hodge there had I had him losing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my 9th spot, I got A. Millie. A. Millie's team, his flexes are just so bad. I know he has Aaron Jones, but like even if Aaron Jones is there, I mean he's still. I'm not a Drake London fan. I don't really like the Falcons passing offense. I forgot who his last flex is. It's not good either way. So yeah, I see A. Millie being a team that's vying for Pancake King rankings again this year.
Yeah. Jesus, this is tough. At 9, at 9, I'm gonna go ZT. I think these rankings are a little rough. I think I had him losing this week. I'm pretty sure, but I think he has solid guys. And again, we talk but they're all like middle. I don't know. It's just he doesn't have the. He has Amon Ra, he has Lamar Jackson, Ramondre Stevenson, Gibbs. But it's just how his team consistently performs and kind of going historically. I think he's usually around this range, anyways. I hope that changes. So I'm gonna, just based on his historical data and what I think he's going to lose this week, I'm gonna go ZT.
And so my 10th spot, I got Tasia here. I think Tasia keeping Alexander Madison really came back to bite him. I mean, he took a chance on him. I was very close to keeping him. Thank God I didn't. He's done. I mean, his spot's probably going to be gone in the next few weeks here. He hasn't looked good anyway. Yeah, Taja's quarterback situation is also pretty rough between Geno and I forgot who's other quarterback that he has, Dak and yeah, Dak. Yeah, they've blown out teams so far, so we haven't seen Dak do anything yet. So we haven't really seen the Stackers Club, the Dallas Stackers Club, do anything yet. So with that quarterback situation and with one of his keepers already, Dunsky, I'm not a fan of what's going on over there. I could see, and I see him losing again this week, 0-3. Not a good look.
I also have Tasia at my 10 spot. He's 0-2, lowest points for in the league. People could argue it should be lower, but I did have him winning this week. And yeah, Madison looks rough. Damian Pierce looks rough. DeAndre Swift could be a saving grace for Tasia, but we'll see if that continues. Again, it's just a big question mark as far as that goes. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like outside of his starting guys, there's not a lot of other things doing for me. And it's just kind of where he is in the standings and where he is points for. I can't put him any higher than 10.
Yeah, I agree. My 11th spot, pretty easy. I have ZT, pretty much for all the reasons you mentioned. He just doesn't have what it takes. I mean, like I'm going to say that. He just doesn't have it.
Poor guy. Yeah, this is probably my biggest faller. I have, and honestly, I might have put him a little higher. I kind of rushed through this, but I do have Adam at 11. I like Tua, AJ Brown, and CMC.
Wow.
But nothing else on that team is doing it for me right now. I was big on Drake London coming this season, not looking good. Pickens looked great last week, but like 70% of his points came off of that one catch. Not going to happen every week. AJ Dillon is rough. He does have Aaron Jones. Like his lineup will look obviously better with Aaron Jones' lineup, but I just don't. Nothing else really does it for me. I don't know. It's just is Tua going to continue it? CMC is awesome, obviously, but we just saw like AJ Brown's going to have down weeks. Tua is outside of the Chargers game. Like, let's see what he looks like, right? So I don't know. Just doesn't do it. I'd probably have him a little higher. This might be a little harsh, but it's just not a lot to do it for me, for Adam.
All right, so we're getting to our last guy here. It's the Pancake King. You guys know what it is.
You are the Pancake King, young and sweethearting fan of thieves. Ooh, see that boy, watch that taste, digging the Pancake King.
Yeah, I love that tune every time I hear it. So my Pancake King is Michael Yaglu. Devin Singletary being his running back. I mean, I think that's enough said. I mean, he won week 1. I hope it continues for him, but week 2 was bad. I think week 2, we're going to see more week 2 than we're going to see week 1 for him. So, yeah, Yaglu.
Yaglu for me as well. No surprise. He needs to make moves. He needs to get a haul he has talent that he can trade away. That Devin Singletary, man, his running back situation is disgusting. And that's not going to get you anywhere in this league. So hopefully it changes. Hopefully he does not have to chug this week. We want to get some new faces on this show. So all the best, Yags. We had a good time last night too. And last week, we're having good times outside of fantasy. Fantasy, Pancake
That's
King.
all that matters. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
That's all we're about.
Fantasy, you're not doing so well, but reality, we're having great times.
Fantastic.
Okay, so final time before we end, it's we do this every week. It used to be Barry's Juice, but now it's Barry's Motivational Squeeze. So Barry's Motivational Squeeze as we end the show here, everyone's favorite subject.
This is why you're fucking holding back, and I'm tired of the BS.
I love that. We have so many good clips, man. And this is probably one of my favorites. But my motivational squeeze is for Yaglu to get a trade done that gets him a running back. Maybe it's a guy who's got good keeper value, but he needs a running back and he needs some depth. So a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1. I think he needs to get in on that. And I know there's some guys around the league who are offering 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 specials. And I know you don't want to do it, but like you might need to at this point because right now, and maybe 2-for-1, and maybe then throw in a draft pick. You need a running back. Maybe he's tanking because he knows he's for this year and this year only. He wasn't going to be a part of the Pancake King stuff, so he can't actually get the Pancake IHOP stuff because Barry put him in such a bad position. So maybe he is tanking. Maybe we don't know this. Maybe he's not telling us he's tanking, but maybe he is. And you know what? Might be a good year to do it. You're not going to be in the IHOP sweepstakes, so you may as well, right? But if I was him, I would do a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 for a running back or 2. But that's my motivational squeeze for Yaglu.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I'm going to do in true Barry's motivational squeeze fashion. We've had Barry in the past do it to himself. The role is my favorite when he would just motivate himself. And I'm
but he always wanted to do that too.
Yeah. So I'm going to, in true Barry's motivational squeeze fashion, I'm going to motivate me. I'm 0-2. I have a rough matchup this week. Have a rough matchup next week, but gotta keep the head high. I like my squad still. Have had some unfortunate events, especially with the Garrett Wilson situation. But there's brighter days ahead. That's all I gotta say. Even if going 4, I think I could still bounce back, make a playoff spot, make a push. I think that team's strong enough. And I think week 1 I motivated Yags. He had a blow up game. Week 2 motivated Stu. He had a blow up game. Week 3, me. We'll see. But yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. So that's my motivational squeeze.
Yeah, just keep your eyes on the prize, and you want to continue that momentum and continue that
I just
energy.
gotta keep on keeping on, you know. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for us, guys. Thanks for Cobb. You did an amazing job hosting the show. I know this whole technical difficulties. I couldn't look at any matchups. You were doing all of that, so great job. Thanks for everyone who stuck around for a little bit. This was a kind of a longer episode because of all technical difficulties, so we're sorry about that. We love you guys. We hope you guys have a fantastic week 3, and we'll see you guys next week right here on the Cobb and Dash Show. Cobb, good luck, my man.
you too, man.